From now on, Dorian, when we talk and when we meet is completely up to me. Stop clinging to me like a pathetic fool. In front of more than 20 people. In front of that man named Garrett Weber. Celeste Jensen said these words. The champagne in her hand was still bubbling, her red lipstick gleaming under the lights. She thought Dorian would bow his head as usual, roll back to the kitchen like a dog. But this time was different. Dorian stopped wiping the table, untied his apron, and gently placed it on the table covered with scraps. He looked at her, then at the man with his arm around her waist. Okay, just one word. Celeste smiled. She thought this was another victory. She didn't know that this okay was the death notice for her 2 million follower platform. She didn't know that her so-called success had already started its countdown the moment Dorian walked out that door. Viewers, if your partner treated your hard work like garbage and you like a joke, what would you do? Tell me in the comments. Because what happens next will make you redefine what regret means. In the apartment, lights hit Celeste's face like spotlights. More than 20 people formed a circle, phones held high, flashlights going off constantly. The table was covered with empty bottles, plates, and flowers. A celebration party for her 2 million followers, for her success. Dorian came out of the kitchen carrying a garbage bag. Old t-shirt, jeans, messy hair. He had just finished washing 3 rounds of dishes, his hands still wet. No one looked at him. Celeste! Oh my God, 2 million? A woman screamed, raising her glass. You really made it. Celeste smiled, her eyes crinkling. Thanks, Melissa. Honestly, this is just the beginning. Standing beside her was a man named Garrett Weber. 35, sharp suit, hair slicked back with gel, not a strand out of place. He was a gold-level agent from an MCN agency. His hand rested on Celeste's shoulder, like claiming ownership. Celeste has talent, Garrett said, his voice booming. Her camera presence, her expression ability are all top-notch. Our company can push her to 5 million, even 10 million level. A wave of admiration erupted from the crowd. Celeste's eyes lit up like stars. Dorian walked over and said softly, Celeste, can I talk to you for a second? She turned her head, frowning, like she'd seen a fly. What? About the contract, Dorian said. I looked at the agreement Garrett gave you. The 7th clause on revenue sharing has problems. Dorian, Celeste interrupted, her voice suddenly cold. What do you know about contracts? You don't even have a proper job. The room went quiet for a second. Everyone's eyes turned over. Garrett laughed, slowly straightening up. Dorian, right? I've heard Celeste mention you. What do you do again? Data analysis, Dorian said calmly. And technical development. Oh. Garrett drew out the syllable as if savoring a joke. Tech guy. Very good, very good. But this is business strategy, not coding. You probably don't understand the rules of this industry. A few people snickered. Celeste didn't stop them. She even laughed too. Dorian took a deep breath. That revenue sharing clause, you take 60%, Celeste only gets 30%. The remaining 10% goes to the platform. This is clearly enough. Celeste suddenly turned around, her voice sharp as a knife. Dorian, I'm really sick of this. She walked up to him, high heels clicking on the floor. Everyone in the room watched them. Some had already raised their phones to record. From now on, she said word by word, each word like a nail hammered into Dorian's face. When we talk and when we meet is completely up to me. She paused, her voice getting louder. Stop clinging to me like a pathetic fool. A pause. Then she added the final blow. Honestly, I don't even know why I married you in the first place. You're not worthy of my life now. You're just not worthy. Garrett walked over, his arms circling her waist. She didn't push him away. Instead, she leaned in closer. Laughter exploded through the room like waves. Some whispered. Some held up wine glasses and smirked. Some pointed their cameras at Dorian, filming his pale face. Dorian stood there. He didn't argue, didn't shout, didn't slam the door. He just slowly nodded. Okay. he said softly. Then he turned and walked toward the bedroom. The door closed. Laughter was shut outside. He sat on the edge of the bed, looking at Celeste's photo on the wall. The dresser was full of jewelry he'd bought her. The bookshelf held her awards: Best Lifestyle Blogger, Woman of Influence. He remembered 3 years ago. Back then, she was a small blogger with less than 5,000 followers. She sat on this bed crying, saying she couldn't do it anymore, saying she wasn't as good as others. He was the one who stayed up late writing code, helping her analyze data, optimizing every posting time. He was the one who built the automation system, capturing trends, generating tags, filtering comments. He handled all the technical issues, financial reports, tax filings, client outreach alone. Every trending topic was captured by him at 3 a.m. Every follower spike was the result of his algorithm optimization. Every brand email was replied to by him on her behalf. But tonight she said he wasn't worthy of her life. He took out his phone and dialed a number. "Callum, it's me. Can I stay at your place for a few days?" "Of course, brother." Callum's voice sounded worried. "What happened?" "Nothing," Dorian said. "I just need to get away for a bit." "You're welcome anytime. Are you okay?" "I will be." He hung up and opened his laptop. The screen lit up. His fingers moved across the keyboard, fast and precise. File transfer in progress. 100% complete. Cloud backup. Complete. Remote access permissions. Revoked. Automation scripts. Disabled. Server dongles. Authorization removed. Customer management system. Locked. Data dashboard. Disconnected. 15 minutes. He finished everything that needed to be done. He stood up, pulled out an old backpack, packed some clothes, chargers, his laptop. He looked at the room one last time. Then he opened the door and walked toward the entrance. The party in the living room was still going on. Celeste was sitting on Garrett's lap, laughing hysterically. No one noticed Dorian. He placed the keys on the shoe cabinet. "Keys are here," he said, voice neither loud nor soft. "Mortgage is due on the 15th next month. $3,200. Remember to pay it yourself." Celeste turned her head and saw him with his backpack. She laughed, that contemptuous, victorious laugh. "Oh, running away from home?" she said, mockery in her voice. "You'll be back in 3 days begging me. Where are you going?" "To Callum's crappy couch." Garrett laughed too. "Dorian, don't be impulsive. A man admitting his mistakes and bowing his head isn't shameful." Another burst of laughter filled the room. Dorian looked at Celeste, his gaze calm, like looking at a stranger. "Not anymore," he said. 3 words. Then he walked out the door and gently closed it. Outside the door, the hallway light was cold. He stood there taking deep breaths, hearing the laughter and music from behind. His phone vibrated. A text: "Brother, sent you the address. Come over anytime." Dorian walked toward the elevator. Behind him, the party music gradually faded. He pressed the button for the first floor. The elevator door closed. That home was no longer his concern. The next morning, the sunlight was blinding. Celeste lay in bed, her head feeling like it would split. She'd drunk too much champagne last night. She reached for the other side of the bed. The sheets were cold. Dorian wasn't there. She sat up and checked the time. 11 a.m. She picked up her phone, no messages from him. "Tsh," she laughed lightly. "Acting out." She walked to the living room. The table was a mess. Empty bottles, paper plates, ashes, lipstick marks. She frowned. Dorian used to clean all this up. Whatever. She grabbed her phone and opened Instagram. New followers, 3,200. Comments, over 500. She smiled and started replying. By 3 in the afternoon, she wanted to post new content. She opened her laptop and logged into the back end. Strange. The data dashboard was blank. She refreshed the page. Still blank. She tried opening the content scheduling tool. Error message: "Cannot connect to server." Her heart started racing. She tried several more times. Still didn't work. She dialed the cloud service customer support. "Hello. This is TechCloud customer service. My data panel won't load, Celeste said, her voice a bit urgent. Can you help me check? One moment, ma'am. Your account shows that server authorization has been revoked by the administrator. What does that mean? Someone removed your access privileges from the administrator account. You need to contact the original administrator for reauthorization or purchase a new service. Celeste froze. Administrator account. That was Dorian's. Can it be restored? Technically, yes, but it requires the original administrator's action. Or you can purchase a new service, starting at $399 per month. She hung up and sat there in a daze. The phone rang. It was Garrett. Hey, Celeste. 3 o'clock this afternoon. We're meeting with Urban Chic brand representatives. Remember to prepare your recent data reports. They want to see detailed growth trends. Celeste hesitated. I'm having some issues with my data right now. What issues? Garrett's voice immediately became tense. Celeste, this is a big deal. An annual contract worth $500,000. They want to see growth trends, engagement rates, user profiles, conversion data. I know, I'll handle it. 3 o'clock. Don't be late. She hung up and stared at the screen. Data reports. Those were all generated by Dorian. She didn't even know where the data came from. She opened Excel trying to manually input numbers, but she didn't know what to fill in. Follower growth rate, daily active users, engagement conversion rate. She'd heard these terms but never calculated them herself. She picked up her phone, hesitated for a moment, then dialed Dorian's number. The number you have dialed is powered off. She tried 3 times. All powered off. She started to panic. She tried logging into the customer management system. Wrong password. She tried opening that software called Content Flow Pro. Failed to launch. She tried entering the brand collaboration folder in her email. Empty. All emails had been moved. Her hands started trembling. At 3 in the afternoon, she sat in a cafe. Across from her were 2 women in business attire. One was Urban Chic's brand manager, one was the marketing director. Garrett sat beside her, full of smiles. Celeste's content quality is very high, Garrett said, opening his iPad. Her follower retention is extremely strong, conversion rate industry-leading. Let her show you the latest data. Celeste opened her laptop. On the screen was a blank Excel spreadsheet. The brand manager frowned. Where's the report? Celeste's throat tightened. I had some system issues this morning. System issues? The marketing director put down her coffee cup, looking at her. Ms. Jensen, you're a professional blogger. Data is your core asset. You can't even produce a basic report. That's not it, We need to see professionalism. The brand manager stood up, grabbing her purse. I'm sorry, Mr. Weber. This collaboration isn't suitable. We'll consider other bloggers. Wait, Sarah, we can. Garrett quickly stood up, but the 2 women had already left. The cafe was silent. Garrett's face darkened. He slowly turned to Celeste. What's going on? My backend won't load, Celeste said quietly. Dorian revoked all access permissions. Dorian. Garrett was stunned. Your husband? He knows this stuff. He does technical work. Garrett was silent for a few seconds. His jaw was clenched. Then get it back from him. He won't answer his phone. Then go find him. Garrett's voice rose. Celeste, do you know what we just lost? A $500,000 annual contract. I know, You know nothing. Garrett took a deep breath, trying to calm himself. Fine, I'll find someone to handle it. Don't post anything. Wait for my message. He stood up, grabbed his suit jacket, and left without looking back. Celeste sat there, hands gripping an empty coffee cup. The cup was cold, just like her heart. The next week was a nightmare. Celeste tried managing the account herself. She logged into Instagram, wanting to reply to fan comments, but thousands of comments made her dizzy. Before, Dorian scripts would automatically filter important comments, flag brand collaboration intentions, highlight VIP fans who needed priority replies, even generate personalized response templates. She only had to click send. Now she had to read them one by one. She spent 4 hours and only replied to 50. And most were copy-pasted, "Thanks, Babe Redheart." The next day, she wanted to post new content. She took photos, edited them, wrote captions, hit publish. 10 minutes later, only 23 likes. She refreshed. Still 23. Usually her posts would break 1,000 likes in 1 minute, 10,000 in 5. Now, she opened the back end wanting to check traffic data, but she couldn't understand those charts. What's organic reach rate? What's algorithm weight? What's engagement decay index? Her phone started vibrating like crazy. Email after email. All from brands. "Ms. Jensen, we've noticed your recent data has shown abnormal decline. What happened? Your account engagement rate dropped from 3.8% to 0.6%, which severely affects our campaign effectiveness. According to Article 9 of the contract, if data continues declining, we have the right to terminate cooperation and request partial refunds." She didn't know how to reply. She knew nothing. Garrett came over. He brought a young man, early 20s, wearing a hoodie, carrying a backpack. "This is Kevin," Garrett said. "He'll help you with technical issues." Kevin sat down, looking at Celeste's laptop. "What features do you need?" "I need data reports, content scheduling, auto-reply system, trend capture, user profile analysis," Celeste said. Kevin frowned. "What tools did you use before?" "I don't know. My husband set it up." "Do you have source code? Documentation? Operation manual?" "No." Kevin sighed. "Then I can only start from scratch. But it takes time." "How long?" 3 weeks. 3 weeks. Celeste shrieked. "I have an important shoot in 3 days." "Then I'll make a simplified version," Kevin said. "But the features will be very basic." 3 days later, Kevin presented a new system. The interface was rough, like software from last century. Complicated operation, always glitching. "This is the best I can do," Kevin said. "But it can't auto-analyze trends, can't optimize posting times, can't filter comments. You have to manually operate everything." Celeste tried using it. It took her an hour to figure out how to export a report. Worse still, her followers started declining. 300, 500, 700 per day. Comments started appearing with doubts. "What's up with Celeste lately? Content getting worse. Feels like she's lost it. Where did that polished quality go? Unfollowed. Waste of time." Celeste sat in front of the computer, tears falling. Garrett sat across from her, eyebrows furrowed. "We need to quickly salvage your image," he said. "I have a solution." "What solution?" Celeste looked up, eyes red. "Buy followers. Boost engagement." Celeste's eyes widened. "Isn't that against the rules?" "Only if you get caught," Garrett said, voice low. "Celeste, many people do this. I know professional teams who can get you 100,000 followers back in a week. When the numbers look good, brands won't run." "But do you have a choice?" Garrett interrupted. "You're losing followers every day. Brands are canceling. You have 3 months of mortgage to pay. Tell me, do you have another way?" Celeste bit her lip. She looked at the declining numbers, the cancellation emails, the dwindling bank account balance. "Okay," she said. "Do it." 2 weeks later, Celeste's follower count started rising again. 5,000, 8,000, 10,000 per day. Her post likes also skyrocketed to 20,000, 30,000. She breathed a sigh of relief. She thought the crisis was over. But on Monday morning of the 3rd week, Instagram sent her a notification. "Your account has unusual activity. Upon detection, your follower growth pattern doesn't conform to natural patterns. Suspected purchase of fake followers. According to community guidelines, your account has been shadow banned." Shadow banned. This meant her content wouldn't appear on recommendation pages, wouldn't be seen by new users, wouldn't have any organic traffic. Her account was essentially dead. She called Garrett. "What do we do?" "I've been shadow banned." "I know." Garrett's voice was cold. I received the notification too. So what now? You said it would be fixed in a week. I didn't expect them to catch it so fast, Garrett said. Someone probably reported it. Reported? Who would report me? How would I know? Garrett said impatiently. Celeste, now's not the time to investigate this. Calm down first. I'll figure something out. What solution? I need time. You said you needed time last time. Celeste screamed. And the result? Now I'm shadow banned. Garrett, you said you'd take me to the top tier. You said. That was when you had value. Garrett suddenly shouted. Silence on the other end of the line. Celeste gripped the phone, hands shaking. What did you say? Garrett took a deep breath. Celeste, we're both adults. Your current situation isn't suitable for continued cooperation. Brands are all watching, your data's declining severely, accounts shadow banned, plus legal risks. I need to survive too. So you're abandoning me? Not abandoning, strategic adjustment, Garrett said, voice regaining calm. When you resolve your problems, we'll talk. Garrett. He hung up. Celeste stood in the apartment, phone dropping to the floor. She looked around. Empty room, messy table, flickering computer screen. She knelt on the floor and started crying. No one heard. Meanwhile, on the other side of Seattle, Dorian sat in Callum's small living room, drinking coffee. Callum was his college roommate who now ran a small software company with 12 employees, about $2 million in annual revenue. So you really left, Callum said, handing him a donut. Yeah. What are you planning to do next? Dorian put down his cup. I want to take some freelance work. Technical consulting, data analysis, content strategy, anything. Callum thought for a moment. I do know someone. Isla Chin does lifestyle content. She's nice, content quality is high, but her numbers just won't grow. She needs help. Introduce me. But she probably can't pay much. Money's not an issue, Dorian said. We can negotiate something else. The next afternoon, Dorian met Isla at a cafe. She was 32, wearing a simple sweater and jeans, black-framed glasses. Her laptop screen was covered with notes and mind maps. Callum says you're brilliant, Isla said, voice a bit nervous. But honestly, I can't pay much. My account only has 80,000 followers. Monthly income about 3,000. Barely breaks even after costs. Money's not an issue, Dorian said. We can discuss equity in exchange for services. Isla blinked. What do you mean? I'll help you with data optimization, content strategy, automation tools, client outreach, Dorian said. In exchange, I take a revenue share. If within 3 months your followers don't double and revenue doesn't grow, I take nothing. Isla looked at him, silent for a few seconds. Why? She asked. Why are you willing to take this risk? Because I've seen your content, Dorian said. You're very talented. You just lack someone who understands operations. Isla slowly nodded. Deal. Dorian started working. He spent 3 days analyzing all of Isla's content from the past 2 years. Every post, every video, every comment. He made a 40-page report, identifying high engagement topics, optimal posting times, audience profiles, content weaknesses. He rebuilt her back-end system, set up automation processes, trend capture, tag generation, data monitoring, client management. He even helped her optimize shooting angles and caption structure. Your angle is too flat, he said, pointing at a photo. Tilt the camera down 15 degrees. It'll have more atmosphere. Don't use so many adjectives in captions. Use short sentences. Use numbers. Use contrasts. A week later, Isla's first new post went out. The photo showed her cooking in the kitchen, camera angle perfect, lighting warm. The caption was concise and powerful. 30 minutes, 3 ingredients, 1 healthy dinner. You can do this. Within 2 hours, 5,000 likes. Within a day, 30,000 likes. The comments exploded. Oh my God. This angle is beautiful. Finally someone who speaks like a human. Not those empty grand statements. Followed. Looking forward to more content. Isla messaged Dorian. Oh my God! How did you do this? Data, Dorian replied. Your content has always been good. It just wasn't being seen before. 2 weeks later, Isla's followers reached 120,000. 4 weeks later, 180,000. Brands started reaching out proactively. A month later, 250,000. Isla sat in her small studio, looking at her phone screen, eyes moist. Dorian, thank you. Really? Don't thank me, Dorian said on the phone. You deserve this. You've always had this potential. You just needed someone to help you release it. I hired 2 operations teams before. They all said my content was too niche, couldn't grow. That's because they didn't understand, Dorian said. Niche isn't the problem. The problem is not finding the right audience. Now you have. Isla smiled, tears falling. I want you to be my partner, official partner. Let's talk after 3 months, Dorian said. First see if we can reach 500,000 followers. I believe we can. The call ended. Isla looked out the window at the sunset, feeling for the first time that the future was bright. Meanwhile, Celeste's world continued to crumble. She received an email. The header showed the Washington State Tax Authority's official logo. Dear Ms. Jensen, according to our records, your 2023 tax return shows major discrepancies. You reported income of $48,000, but third-party reports we obtained from Instagram and other platforms show your actual income was approximately $180,000. Please provide detailed financial statements and income proof within 10 days. Otherwise, we will initiate a formal investigation. Celeste stared at the screen, heart racing. Tax filing. That had always been handled by Dorian. She pulled out last year's folder. Dense numbers and forms, technical terms, complex calculation formulas. She couldn't understand a single word. She called an accountant. Ms. Jensen, the accountant said, voice serious. Your filing last year was perfect. Income, expenses, deductions, depreciation, accrued expenses, all handled flawlessly. But this year, the numbers you gave me don't match at all. Income misreported, expenses exaggerated, deductions wrong. This will trigger a tax audit. Can it be fixed? Yes, but you need to reorganize all financial records. Bank statements, payment receipts, invoices, contracts. And if the tax authority finds you deliberately evaded taxes, penalties could be up to 75% of the owed amount, possibly even criminal liability. Celeste hung up, hands trembling. Her phone rang again. This time it was a lawyer's letter. Ms. Jensen, we represent our client Mr. Dorian Harrison, formally notifying you to immediately cease using the proprietary software Content Flow Pro and all associated tools. The intellectual property of this software system belongs to Mr. Dorian Harrison, and you have no right to continue using it. If you continue, we will take legal action under the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, DMCA, and demand compensation for economic losses. Her mind went blank. Content Flow Pro. That was the content management system Dorian wrote for her. She'd been using it. Although she couldn't access it now, she still had the old version on her computer. She called Garrett. He says I can't use his software. Then don't use it, Garrett said impatiently. Celeste, I'm busy right now. But all the client lists, collaboration records, historical data are in there. Then manually export them. I don't know how to export. I can't even change the login password. Garrett was silent for a few seconds. Celeste. His voice became cold. I have to be honest with you. Your current situation isn't good. Brands are watching, some are already demanding refunds. Your data's declining severely, accounts shadow banned. Now you have tax issues, legal disputes. So, Celeste's voice started shaking. So I suggest you take a break. When all problems are resolved, we'll talk. You're giving up on me. Not giving up, just cut that crap, Celeste screamed. Garrett, you said you'd take me to the top tier. You said I had talent. You said that was when you had value. Garrett interrupted, voice turning cruel. Celeste, wake up. You're worthless now. Your account is dying, your data's dropping, you owe taxes, you're being sued, you're losing followers daily. Tell me, why should I waste time on you?" Celeste froze. And Garrett continued, "Honestly, you could succeed before entirely because of your husband. Now he's gone, you're nothing. You. Yes, it's that brutal. Welcome to the real world. Celeste." The call ended. Celeste stood in the apartment. Phone dropped to the floor. Screen shattered. She looked at the empty room. Her photos still hung on the wall. Those award photos, those glorious moments. Now they looked like mockery. She knelt on the floor, holding her head, started crying. But the crying soon stopped, because the doorbell rang. She wiped her tears and walked over to open the door. Outside stood a person in uniform. "Ms. Celeste Jensen? That's me. This is a court summons. Please sign." She took the document, hands shaking. Opened it. The first page read, "Regarding petition for dissolution of marriage. Plaintiff, Dorian Harrison. Divorce papers." She flipped to the second page. Dorian wanted nothing. Not the house, not the car, not the savings. He only wanted complete severance. The third page was the property division list. Only then did she realize the house mortgage had 3 more years. Her savings could only cover 6 months. The car was leased, lease expiring next month. Credit card debt was over $20,000. She thought she was wealthy, but now she realized she had nothing. Everything she possessed was built on Dorian's foundation. She collapsed on the floor. This time she couldn't cry. 2 months later, Seattle, 5th Avenue, a 7-Eleven convenience store. Celeste stood behind the register, wearing a blue uniform, scanning items. Her hair was tied in a ponytail, face bare of makeup. Nails were short because long nails weren't convenient for work. $18.50 total, she said mechanically. The customer paid and left with their things. Celeste looked at the empty store and sighed. She'd sold the apartment, paid off most of the debt. Tax authority penalties were split into 3-year installments. She moved back to her parents' house, closed all social media accounts. Those 2 million followers had long since dissipated. The account ending with just over 8,000 zombie followers. Her phone buzzed. A text from the tax authority reminding her next month's installment was due. She put down the phone and looked outside. A car stopped in front of the convenience store. The window rolled down. Celeste saw the TV screen inside. The news was playing. Seattle technical consultant Dorian Harrison wins Best New Media Strategist of the Year award. His company Harris Analytics has helped over a dozen content creators achieve breakthroughs in just 6 months, adding over 5 million followers total for clients and generating over $3 million in revenue. On screen, Dorian stood at the podium in formal wear, smile humble but confident. Standing beside him was Isla, wearing an elegant dress, smiling brilliantly. A reporter asked, "Mr. Harrison, what's the secret to your success?" Dorian looked at the camera. Gaze calm. "Never take someone else's efforts for granted." He paused. "And never underestimate a silent person's determination to leave." The reporter asked again, "So what advice do you have for young people wanting to enter this industry?" Dorian smiled. "Recognize who truly creates value and who just stands in the spotlight. Often, the most glamorous person on stage has someone silently contributing behind the scenes. Please respect them." On screen, the camera zoomed in. Dorian's eyes were bright, with no anger, no resentment, only calmness and liberation. The car drove away. Celeste stood behind the register, tears streaming down. But this time, no one would see, and no one would care. The doorbell chimed. A customer walked in, grabbed a bag of chips. "How much?" Celeste wiped her tears, took a deep breath. $3.20. The customer paid and left. Celeste continued standing there, fluorescent lights humming overhead. She remembered that celebration party night, remembered Garrett's promises, remembered those fake smiles, remembered Dorian's figure busy in the kitchen. She remembered what she said, "You're not worthy of my life now." Now she finally understood. It wasn't that he wasn't worthy of her. It was that she was never worthy of him. That evening, Dorian returned to his new apartment. Not large, but clean and tidy. A large computer in the living room, several certificates of honor on the wall. His phone rang. It was Isla. "Hey, Dorian. Tomorrow we're celebrating the new office opening. You must come. Oh, and good news, we just signed our 5th client." "Congratulations," Dorian said. "I'll be there." "Also," Isla said, voice a bit hesitant, "I've been wanting to say, thank you for all your help these past months. Really. Without you, I couldn't have come this far." "It's what you deserve," Dorian said. "You're worth all this." "No, really," Isla said seriously. "You made me understand something. Success isn't one person's thing. There's always someone invisible contributing behind the scenes. I didn't understand before, now I do." Dorian smiled. "You always understood. You just needed someone to remind you." He hung up and walked to the balcony. City lights sparkled in the night sky. Wind blew through his hair. He remembered that night, that humiliation, that laughter. But now those things no longer mattered. He didn't need revenge. Because the best revenge is living better than before. He turned back inside and grabbed his jacket. Tomorrow would be a good day. New clients, new projects, new beginnings. He walked toward the door, stopped to look at himself in the mirror. That person who was once humble, mocked, treated as a burden, was gone. Standing here now was Dorian Harrison, technical consultant, entrepreneur, strategist of the year. More importantly, a person who had regained his dignity. He turned off the light and walked out. The hallway light was bright. His steps were light, because he knew that no matter what tomorrow brought, he would never look back. Some people, once they leave, they're gone. Some roads once walked are done. Some hurts, even forgiven, aren't forgotten. But most importantly, he finally understood one truth. You can never wake someone pretending to sleep, but you can wake yourself. Then walk toward the sunlight without looking back. Viewers, do you think Celeste should be forgiven? Have you met people like this? Leave your story in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe, because every support you give is the best affirmation for those who contribute silently. See you next time.